Okay, this follows by lessons in critical thinking, advocating for Haya from last time, but that was 2.5 years ago. Today is May 12th, 2021. I'm stuck here using the internet of a liquor store, out of all places. I've tried a few different places. Even before the video that I just posted on my YouTube yesterday, uh, that kind of seeks to bring awareness to the line that defines people with various potential types of developmental disabilities. And I say potential because if it's evaluated by the norm and the norm doesn't acknowledge its own, it's not always accurate. And even before that video advocating for Hayas and from 2.5 years ago, is that I've already been talking about this, for example, in Nanaimo and in the Cowichan, in the Comox Valley. I noticed a lot of people with various types of developmental disabilities participating in programs or going to places where they were treated in a way by the workers as if they were not smarter or better problem solvers, and that's a flaw. And GRETA has told us this is a flaw, and GRETA has admitted to certain diagnoses that are either accurate or not, but that will change, right? A person doesn't keep their own over time. It's not like the brain is frozen in that way, and I think even psychiatrists don't seem to grasp that basic idea about the brain, how fluid it is, and how even after it averages at finishing, maturing at 25 years old, that it still changes a lot. And it changes because of biological impacts, but also environmental impacts. So, it's very hard for me to connect to the internet, and I waste a lot of fuel trying different places. So, I was parked at the library, and there's different staff. Some are security, some are bylaw, and they kind of walk around the vehicle, and they often see I'm in there, but they don't try to make conversation. So I have to open the window and say, yeah. And I don't mind moving and following their rules. What I mind, though, is that they treat me like I'm some sort of infection from another planet, and that they're in positions of authority, and yet they're incompetent in their job because of their developmental disabilities. So I got a little bit tired because bylaw guy had to, engage in the conversation because he wasn't able to start it himself. And this is you. This is the 9 out of 10 nice people in society. This person would not be diagnosed with anything because he's you. He's the norm, right? So I finally get him to talk, and he says, go in that gravel parking lot cross and you'll pick up the signal. And I said, either from this university or library you can't pick it up. But there's one from the city. And that's the city office there too, with the library in Parksville and VIU. And so I can't pick it up, but I see the city and it says guest, but then you need a password. So I go in there and I kind of start very nicely with the lady who has an accent from another speaking country that has English. And I don't know if it was New Zealand or Australia or something like that. I'm not sure. But anyways, she is just mentioning things that are obviously ridiculous, right? Oh, no, go in the library. You can use the library. And then I'm telling her things, because I was in a conversation with library people just a few days ago where they don't allow anybody inside for more than 30 minutes. And every library is making their own decisions, and it's based on the, the mental illness of the staff or the confidence of the leadership team, which is usually lacking. So some are huge and they could allow a few people, and they keep using the pandemic as excuses. And some are okay. And there's security, and security, I think the best security guards are the ones with developmental disabilities because they know how to problem solve. So the lady, I'm saying, okay, you're not hearing me, maybe, you, and then the security guard when I came in, who has a diagnosis or two from the other day, but it was very nice, he comes in, but I'm still trying to solve it with her, but he comes close, right? And then another lady comes close, and I don't know if she's the boss of the other lady, and I don't know if she's listening for training purposes, or if she's not participating because she would show her incompetence as well. And then another guy comes, and they seem to come as if there's some buttons being pressed or phone calls being called, and I'm just trying to problem solve something simple. I keep telling them I have an important job interview tomorrow, which is true. I have homework I'd like to do. I need to know, where I can park and where it's okay and where, people won't circle my car and I'll be okay. Because it's not fun to always look over your window when you're trying to do homework. And this is what I've been doing all the time in Canadian society. It's ridiculous. I've overheard conversations where people say, people park there and they're like using the internet and upsets people. And no offense, but right across the street here where I tried the Dairy Queen, and I think the Dairy Queen is you need a password now for the guest. Is people are tired the internet's being used, but they're also tired of the services from Shaw where they upgrade to higher services but it works less efficiently and they complain and it never gets solved. So again, this is Canada's devolving. They don't even want to talk about problems. They think the problem is a guy who wants to talk about problems. Call security. He wants to talk about our Canadian problems. Oh my God, you're ridiculous. There is no species more challenging to live with on this planet than you, the people primates, you, the Homo communia, 99.6% of you. This is a job I would enjoy. It's a part-time job as an educator promoting French in school districts across Canada where, they're primarily Anglophone or even maybe struggling with Anglophone if it's remote communities. So I have to prepare a lesson plan. I have to be sure that tomorrow where I park, the internet will be reliable for at least 45 minutes. And all these things are made more challenging by you, the Homo communia. So this lady at City Hall, if the bylaw officer said, but I'm telling you, he said this, I complied, and I can't connect. So can you give me the password for city guests, not staff, guests? We don't provide. So, can I talk to somebody higher up because I'm trying to solve this problem? It's important to me. And no, they can't. They think somehow I'm like some sort of violent terrorist who has been sent on this planet to make them uncomfortable about themselves and their day. It's ridiculous. And this is not a one-time occurrence per year. This is me living among you and not wanting to be a culture breaker like you and being very persistent. No more. Many years ago decided this, and this is what the norm for me living among you is. So the security guard finally, after I saw that the non-diagnosed adults, but I diagnosed them with HSD, which means they're not capable of saving themselves. But the security guard came, and finally I turned to him because I told the lady, I said, you just keep trying to repeat the same thing I already said doesn't work, and I've already followed that potential resolution, and it's like she doesn't hear, and it's like everybody wants to push you away. And I'm wearing my mask, I wash hands, I'm calm, but eventually you have to say you're not listening. There's something going on. I speak French and English. Which one? Can somebody else come because we're not moving forward? And that's totally okay for me to say in a polite way. But it's sad I have to say this kind of stuff way too often in Canadian society. And this is not supposed to be one of the most redneck parts of Vancouver Island, BC, or Canada, or North America, but it is. It's spreading, right? So the guy comes, a security guard, and he says, you can go to this place, this parking lot, and he made sure, he said, yeah, that's it. And he would know, man. He's on his phone at work a lot, but he also is on the job. His diagnosis allows him to problem solve and not be as insane and insecure as the other ones. So again, there should be more and more people with different types of developmental disabilities because they don't suffer from HSD as much, and therefore they are able to solve obvious kindergarten level problems when most of the adults are incapable, the norm that doesn't fit a diagnosis because they're the norm. So it's very, very frustrating living among you. It's very frustrating seeing that, for example, the mall across the street when I was at Dairy Queen, I'm doing some observations and I see people that have jobs, they're consumers, they're on their phones. And then I see outside the Dairy Queen is a homeless person struggling with certain things he'd like to do, checking his limited assets, maybe counting his coins from when they open. I'm not sure what that was, but I can tell you that the consumer, wearing the company jacket on his phone, and the minimal consumer maybe waiting for a Dairy Queen to open and doesn't have a cell phone, I can tell you that their thoughts are pretty much of the same value as evaluated by sentience and sapience. So evaluated in a human standard kind of way, one is not more valuable than the other. If you look at what the person is doing on their phone and how their day's going and what their thoughts or feeling are in relation to what's happening either in his own world, if he's able to reference the outside world at all, because I'm pretty sure if I start a conversation with him, who doesn't have a diagnosis, and the one outside the Dairy Queen, who most likely has multiple, is the guy outside the Dairy Queen is able to have a conversation with me based on the moment, the subjects of conversation, while the other one is still, his brain is, it's still an elastic stuck to the either the game or the text. Oh, somebody liked something. Oh my God, liked. There's no communication. That's all you want now. Somebody liked something, and you know, a sports team you like, or a comment or whatever, and you think that's more evolved than 20 years ago or than that guy. So if that guy doesn't suffer from HSD and he's able to have a conversation with me that is community level problem solving, or you know, an exchange of useful, productive information, then that guy is the guy I want to be security guards. I want them to be the bylaw people. I want them to work for Parksville City Hall. I don't want the other people that protect themselves and that think, oh no, there's a thinking person. That's not what they say, but this guy could turn irate. And I could record this and email it to them later, and they don't know what to do. And in this recording, it would show that they created the irate person by being dysfunctional in their communication. And it's just, you just have to answer this question. Here's the issue. I explained it properly at the beginning. So when you keep repeating the same thing, when I already said, oh, that doesn't work, or I already tried that, and it's just a way to shoo you away, and you get paid to not shoo people away, but yet all your peers are in agreement that you shoo me away. It's pretty sad that you have jobs and I have to live among you.